personally, do you mind sharing if you've had, you write about it as a journalist.
Yeah.
But like personal experiences, was there something that must have touched you?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Like in which area?
Well, I'd be happy to share this. I'll be very specific with you. I remember over 10 years ago, probably 11 or 12 years ago, in my work as a publisher, I was reading a book on the spirituality of the Enneagram. The Enneagram is a 9-pointed symbol that was brought to the West by a spiritual philosopher named G.I. Gurdjieff. There are a number of people who have used the Enneagram in a very different way from the way that Gurdjieff brought it. They've used the Enneagram as a kind of typology of personality. And I was on it.
Like astrology.
Like astrology. And I'll never forget this moment. About over 10 years ago, I was flying from Denver back to New York City. I was sitting on this airplane reading a manuscript by a woman named Sandra Maitre. She wrote a book called The Spiritual Dimension of the Enneagram, and she was going through the personality traits that correspond to each point, each type. And I was no stranger to self-exploration. I had been through 5 years of psychoanalysis. I had participated in a variety of therapeutic and spiritual and religious methods and searches. And as I got to the point that I started to think was my point, I began to read in this manuscript personality traits that were more revealing than anything I had discovered 5 years on an analyst's couch. And I felt like I was standing just completely naked in front of this material, describing intimate facets of my personality, even more intimate than things I could have admitted to myself up to that point. And yet, this is a typology that's just supposed to identify one of 9 personality traits. How could it be so powerful? So for me at that moment, I guess I experienced confirmation that there is some channel of influence, of information, of ideas coming into this world that was different than anything I had grown up with.
So that was like an opening, a door opening for you. And then, do you ever get the sense that you're more than your personality, like there's an observer? It's one of the things I learned at the Ramtha School.
I deeply hope so. I mean, that probably, and that's a helpful question, because that probably motivates the chief part of my search as an individual today. I mean, where we have an ego, we have these desires, these wishes, these compulsions, and yet for life to really be worthy of having been lived, there has to be something more than that there.